Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show and another episode of the Midweek Fix with the lovely LUFC. Lucy, how are you doing, my friend? All right?
Yeah, we're still a bit giddy from last night.
Still bouncing?
Yeah, didn't
Yeah.
sleep at all.
No,
Straight
I know
into
the feeling.
work.
I know.
In a good
Straight into
mood.
work, and then you're still bouncing, aren't you? You're still regaling all the stuff on social media, getting right giddy over it all. It's mad how quickly I can change because I'm like looking at it thinking it was an unreal performance when maybe it wasn't quite unreal. but we got 3 points yesterday, which was absolutely huge, and we were just chatting off air there, speaking about how last week when we did this, we did a relegation one, and are we in a relegation dogfight? Will this small squad cause all sorts of issues? And then obviously now we get a point against Brighton. We beat Crystal Palace, and I'm thinking of Europe again, Lucy. How are you feeling?
I'm not quite yet there just yet. No,
Just
we're not
yet.
off. We're not
Never
packing our
there, are you?
bags. No, I'm in the middle normally. Yeah, so but it did look that way after Saturday, didn't it? It was
Yeah,
pretty
big time.
bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about Brighton. Obviously, this is how football, it changes so quickly. It was terrible. I had a lot of people, comment on my post match reactions, say, well, we got a point, and maybe when we look back, it'll be a great point. But the performance was absolutely dire. It was akin to the Southampton one. I felt, Lucy.
Yeah, that's literally the same. We were just unrecognisable. It just never got going. Never any clear-cut chances. And I think there's only like a couple of teams that have scored less than Brighton, which showed it was just such a mediocre, rubbish game of football, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some poor performances. I don't think anyone had a key performance. I think mainly my man at left back didn't have a great game. I think a lot of people started to kind of come round to the idea that he's not all that he was cracked up to be.
Yeah.
However, I think he did slightly redeem himself last night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
However, what I will say, Lucy, that first 5 minutes of the second half,
When
I
he was
literally
skinned alive and booked.
Yeah, I said, get him off, get him off, get him off. I'm done. Like, this guy, he played I remember it rightly. He played a poor pass into Dan James. He was then out of position, got skinned by AU, and then brought him down on the edge of the box. And Conor Gallagher stepped up for a free kick. I was thinking, if you score this, that's it. Just get him off the pitch. He was bad, weren't he, on against Brighton? Really
That's
bad.
probably the worst we've seen him. But like I said, everyone was on a level with that. Nobody stood out. And I was saying, I can't believe that I felt like we should have got something from the Spurs game, and yet I was relieved with a point against Brighton, because it did kind of feel, even though it was a poor performance, you just felt slightly elated that you just got a point from such a woeful showing. Really feel for the travelling fans that turned up to watch that, because it was just...
in the weather after Storm Arwen as well, right?
Shocking.
What a bell end he is. Yeah, Arwen. My garden was in bits, mate. Wants to stay in Wales, doesn't he? It's a Welsh name, Arwen, isn't it? Nothing against the Welsh, by the way.
Nothing against Tyler Roberts or anyone.
Who, by the way, Tyler was good against Palace, right?
I feel like probably the last 2 games, actually, because I think when they brought him on, everybody was thinking, crikey, whatever the question is, Tyler Roberts is never the answer. And I think out of everybody, he was the only one that kind of showed anything on Saturday. And then last night, I think he was only dispossessed one time. I think he made some key passes, made some great little runs. There were elements of Bamford's kind of game, I felt, to his game personally last night. Because when the lineup came out,
I can imagine your household was buzzing.
Yes. No. Like, do we really have to still go? Like, going to the game. But I mean, Saturday didn't work with Dan James up front, did it? Just him starting up there.
No.
But yeah, at every game is just like, what kind of formation is it? Who's going to play where? It's kind of a shame to see Pascal kind of dropped on Saturday, and then obviously
that was a
got
real
off.
strange one for me. But what did you make? Then we'll have a chat about that, because I was genuinely, Lucy, really, really shocked to see Bielsa basically wield the axe. Like, there was no injuries, there was no, normally Bielsa will allow players to play themselves into form. But yesterday, when I seen that he dropped Rodrigo, he dropped Harrison, and he dropped Firpo, it really surprised me. How did it feel like for yourself, obviously, on the way to the game? Was it a shock to see him actually say, do you know what? These were not up to par last time. They're not starting.
Yeah, and he does this, doesn't he, from time to time, where he'll make like an early sub or he'll leave somebody out, and then it's almost like he's sending them a message, and then they'll like come into things maybe in the next game. But yeah, I was really surprised because I think Strauch hadn't done anything particularly wrong. I feel like he's always really solid. He's fairly slow, but not really needed in that aspect. He's just really solid. But yeah, I was really shocked at that. Didn't make sense, couldn't make sense of it, and just the entire lineup. I mean, Dan James is not a forward number 9 either.
No.
Couldn't really get my head around that. Yeah, it's a strange one because he's known for consistency, isn't he? Like our team was just predictable every week for 2 or 3 years, and now it's just like roulette every week, isn't it? Like, he just shuffles them about a bit.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I keep saying for sure, and then straight away I'm like Adam for sure. He was great again, and I can't believe the pace he's managed to get to, the level of performance he's managed to get to after having such a long layoff. And for him to play Saturday evening, and then be found back out on Tuesday and put in another stellar performance, it was glorious to see, weren't it, from Adam Forshaw. And you know what, Lucy, I'll say it, like, you, to be fair to you, backed Forshaw, said it loud and proud, took unnecessary stick for it, but that's what football sometimes we have to deal when we put out takes on social media. You do get people, and I suppose that's what you do when you put your opinions out there. But you took a bit of unnecessary stick, and now people are waxing lyrical about him like he's going to win the Ballon d'Or. Do you know what I mean? So he was class, wasn't he? Yeah, exactly.
And it's not just recently, I'd say, like, when he's been absent, everyone's like forgotten about it. But I never have, and even when we were at our best, there were some games where I thought, Forshaw would have excelled in this kind of setup, this kind of game. And I used to tweet about it, and people used to be like, well, why are you mentioning him now? When we were still doing well. I used to think him alongside sort of Phillips. Oh, hello. But you know what I mean? Them two together, I think it's just a more complete package, sort of in the middle of the park. And then obviously as he started to come back, everybody just thought, oh God, well, what's it going to be like? And I kind of died on my Forshaw hill and just kind of said, I just feel like we've missed him. And then I had loads of sticks saying, well, how have we missed him? We won the league, we've been promoted. And I said, but still, there's always room for improvement. And I just think he's the glue. And you could see it last night, that midfield, I just feel like it's solid. And now there's just no end product. I feel like with Forshaw there, we've kind of solved.
He has no end product, by the way. He needs to stop shooting.
No. He can't do it all. He can't do it.
What are you doing, Adam? Stop it, man. Stop it, will you?
Yeah, he was trying to be a bit of a hero, wasn't he, at times?
Yeah.
Going to his head a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
But
almost
yeah,
like shades of Jordan Henderson sometimes at England. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like, yeah, it's not your game. Pack it in. Pack it in.
yeah, yeah.
But no, it was great. Everyone keep getting your comments in, as I say, and do like the video. Like you said, this is just a general chat. We don't have any sort of structure. We just fly from point to point. This one might shock you though. From Harmony. She says Firpo was great once he got booked, which I would tend to agree with it. He definitely grew in the second half, but she says Dan James still needs to pull his socks up, but much better in the last 30 minutes. Don't faint, because we know how much Harmony despises Dan James. But yesterday, and to be honest, like sometimes when you watch the game at the time and you do an instant match reaction, you don't get to see it all and, sample others' opinions. It's just straight from the hip. And for me, in the first half, Dan James was very, very frustrating because I felt at times he tried to shoot when he should have passed, and when he did pass, his passes were poor. But what you can't fault is his endeavour and his pressing. And there was a moment, I remember making a note of it. I think it might have been the 65th minute, maybe 64th, where he just went crunching into Kouyaté 2 times over. And the ball actually fell to Forshaw, and he tried one of his spectaculars. And I was like, what are you doing? But Dan James, for such a small lad, definitely puts himself about, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and I think he linked up great with Firpo down that side, because I know Firpo really is meant to be linking up with Harrison really and building up like a relationship there. But I think they did quite well together down that side. And his work ethic, you can't knock it. He's very similar to Harrison, isn't it? In the fact that he'll run into almost nothing at times, and then that final pass, that final ball just isn't quite there. Again, there was a time when it was his touch let him down, and I thought, oh, if that were Harrison, that'd have been like a goal when he kind of failed to bring the ball down. But still finding his feet. But there's a player there. I can tell everyone sat around me is not. He's not a Dan James fan. Everyone just no matter whatever he did. Oh, he's crap. We've spent this, we spent that, and some people have already made up their minds. Where I think you got to keep an open mind with him, with Firpo.
Agreed.
Kind of take it game to game, and like I said, I thought Firpo was woeful. Then I felt like he redeemed himself in the last sort of half an hour mark.
It's funny you say that, Luce, because those that watch the watch along and watch the game at home will know what I'm talking about. You won't have had the luxury of this, but there was a chance in the first half for Dan James, or he'd done something anyway, and it went through to Guaita, and you could hear a man shout at the side of the thing, go, "Come on, Tyler!" And it was nothing to do with it, right? Like the move, nothing. He had no place in the move. He just shouted, and I thought that's clearly someone who has an agenda against Tyler, because he was not involved whatsoever in that passage of play. But and Guaita had the ball in his hands, and he went, "Come on, Tyler!" And it's like, what's he supposed to be doing? Do you want him to go take it off the keeper? Do you know what I mean? I don't understand.
You've got to give him credit where credit is due, and I think people are really reluctant to give Tyler praise as well. Like somebody said, "Oh, that just sums up Tyler there." I thought, I have no idea what you're talking about, because he's just kind of laid off a lovely ball. Like what? What do you mean? But people, do make up their mind and are not willing to backtrack. But you've just got to kind of summarize the game, because that's all we can do at the moment is just focus on the game ahead. And it is what it is, which got a couple of points. From 2. So
it's good, man. 4 points. We're looking good, and I think winning that game last night moves us up to 15th. We were joking off air that we're now only 3 points away from Manchester United, so we can't be doing that bad. We can't be doing that bad, can we? And people are coming with that rhetoric again of we're only 1 point behind where we were last season. So maybe we've all been over exaggerating a little bit, or do you think the league's much stronger in it? We're still not out of the woods yet, but I do feel if we win at the weekend, we can we can breathe a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's such a big game. It's such a big game at the weekend. Feel like it's become like a little rivalry, hasn't it, between us and Brentford? So it's going to be one of those games which, even though probably a lot of our players haven't necessarily been involved in the fixture, I'm sure people will fill them in, and I'm sure Pontus will be Pontus. And
Oh yeah, he's already been speaking. Have you seen his comments?
I haven't actually. I've not seen anything from him. What has he said?
He's actually said like, and this is more on Brentford. Like he doesn't do himself any favors. I can't imagine with the Brentford fans. He was like, you know, I played at a lot of big clubs, but this is a small club that I'm at now. Okay, they're now a little bit bigger. Now we're in the Premier League, but he said like Leeds is crazy, crazy big. He said I couldn't go into the city centre without being spotted, and there's Leeds fans everywhere. And I just think, if I'm a Brentford fan reading that, I'd be like, what are you doing, man?
Jeez.
Yeah, I never forget his comments when he said, you know, I'm grateful to Brentford to listening to me, and I learned everything at Leeds, and I got us promoted, and that. It was just so
Thanks,
funny.
Bielsa, and yeah.
This will be his first time back, won't it? Since
No, we've had
Eddie
him
Nketiah.
we
Eddie
had him
Nketiah scored, didn't he?
the promotion season.
Season.
We played them quite early on at home,
Yeah,
didn't
we
we?
did.
It was
Eddie
probably like
Nketiah
the
scored
second
because it
game.
went through Pontus's legs, I think.
Yeah,
I remember. Sorry, my memory's not the best.
But
How do you think?
I'm still a big fan of Pontus. I know people kind
Yeah.
of went off him a little bit, but
How do you think he'll get a reaction? Everyone will be positive, right?
I think a lot of people will, and then it will kind of split. If I remember rightly, last time, I can't
Where I
remember
was
if he
at,
did
I
his
loved
little like
Pontus.
fist pumping thing. I can't
Yeah,
remember if he did that.
I loved Pontus, but like I didn't honestly think he was as good as a footballer as what others
Did you
did.
not?
No, I think he used to bring the ball up to halfway and then he'd get a nosebleed and end up losing it. And I do think he was a bit like pump your chest kind of vibe, and it's all about me. And I don't know. I think for the greater good, it was probably right he moved on. But there's a lot of people, and maybe you yourself included, Lucy, that were like, Pontus should have stayed. I'd rather got rid of Cooper, for example. You know, but I think, look, I like him. I like him. Like the kids. My daughters like sing, you know, if you throw a brick at him, you don't swear, obviously, but they and do you remember the last Christmas chant? I gave it to Pontus.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? My kids loved that. So I don't know. Pontus did have one of them sort of impacts. I think it's because he came in at such a dire time, and when he came in on loan, he was great, right?
Oh yeah, and I can
Yeah, it was.
imagine. Like, I remember thinking, how do we replace him? And then obviously, Ben White made you think, oh, actually, he's quite replaceable. But I always thought, oh, what would it have been like to have those two together, perhaps at the back? I thought it was solid, and I think you need characters like that. And people always say it was the beginning of the end with the Villa match, with his reaction. But I think Pontus was all of us. I still can remember it being the most bizarre game.
At that moment in time, 100%.
Yeah. We
100%.
were all Pontus in that moment, and
Yeah.
obviously he's reacting spur of the moment like we were before we had a full understanding. Of course, he's going to kind of carry on. I still remember thinking, what's happened? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And people always say that everybody started to fall out, and I don't know how much of that's true.
No. Well, mate, you've just to look at what was getting said about Calvin to know what comes out on social media as pish. Because, you know, people were saying, he's too big for his boots, man. Who does he think he is? And then he comes out and said, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media. I would play goalkeeper for this guy. Do you know what I mean?
It was lovely of him to.
Yeah, it was. Because he's just stopped it there, hasn't he? Game over, no more chat. You know?
I love that. Yeah, putting people in the place. Yeah.
And then he's cuddling them young'uns at full time and that, and it's like, come on. It was amazing, man. It was amazing. Yeah. I remember though that, you know, that Villa game, that when it all kicked off, you know what it's like when you're in the ground, you're like, come on. I remember, man, I've still got a picture because someone took a picture probably up from where you stand, if I think about it, and you look down and someone let off a flare as well, and it was a
Yeah.
nice summer's day, and there's a picture looking down and I can see me stood on my chair like that going,
Oh,
come on. Just class, man. Them moments are amazing, but it's like, for then, yeah, you're right, we were all Pontus. Like, what are you doing
yeah.
giving them a goal?
Yeah.
Because it was pure shithousery that moment, wasn't it? I
Yeah.
loved it.
I know. And at one point when we won the Fair Play Award, I
Yeah.
literally thought, do you know, I think that's probably the only thing I'm ever gonna see us win. Is it's the only like trophy ever.
Yeah.
And it's
Love
for
that.
something that's so anti-Leeds, isn't it? Like Fair Play.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a bizarre game. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see against Brentford. It's gonna be like its own little mini match where I think anything could happen, because I think they got lucky on at the weekend, didn't they? I think just that goal setting them apart from Everton. I think that was quite a poor game.
Yeah, well, Everton are terrible at the minute, aren't they? I think they'll get battered tonight by Liverpool as well, I think. And
Yeah.
I think they'll go below us on goal difference if they concede a few as well, which they probably will. So we might move up to 14th before the night's done, Luce. So, you know.
Dizzying heights.
Yeah, get your passport ready. We're off on a European tour.
Dusted off.
But come to think of that Brentford one, I'm looking at them now. They're on 16 points with the game. You know, they play Spurs. I'm not expecting them to get a result, in all honesty. So if it was to stay as it were and we beat them at the weekend, we would leapfrog them, you know, and have 2 points on them. And they're sat in 11th. So it's crazy how quick this genuinely could change. And, you know, if we do get a positive result of the weekend, which I think we will, I do. I am really confident ahead of it. Then, you know, we're just outside the top 10, which is mad. When you think last week
the video
we were talking about relegation, and there was a need for that. You know, it was a genuine conversation. And now we've played 2 games. I mean, Brighton, I was on the floor, and now look at us. Do you know what I mean? It's mad football.
It is, but it's the consistency again. Are they going to keep it up? Is it going to be a similar starting lineup? Are we going to have new players on the bench to reintroduce? You know, anything can happen. But yeah, no, it had to be a big performance last night, and within the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
I already made my mind up. I just thought we cannot lose this game. It doesn't look like we could lose this game. We were man for man marking. You could see the intensity, just foreshore constantly on everyone.
Yeah.
They were quite good though. They always kept their shape as well. You could almost like draw the lines of how they were just.
I thought Kouyaté was really good for them. The DM, like he was so strong as well. Like they were. But I said on the
Mitchell was amazing as well
the
against
left back,
Rafa,
yeah. But I said on the watch along at the time, like you could tell from that first 5, 10, 15 minutes that Leeds United were well in this game. It was nothing like the Brighton one. It was like, yeah, we're going to get something out of this game. Obviously Benteke had that chance, the Meslier one as well. That would have it would have been was it at the South Stand, the Meslier one where he kept it off the line? That was horrible.
Awful.
Horrible. Yeah.
And what about Rodrigo as well? Again, he just seemed very distant, kind of missed a bit of a sitter.
Yeah, I don't know why. He's left-footed. I know it comes at pace, but I don't know why he just didn't lift it. I don't know why he's tried to take it with his right foot around him and then to put it in, because there wasn't enough. Listen, I'm not a professional footballer by any stretch of the imagination, but he should have scored that. Harmony says, and I think this is a great point. To be honest, Stuart Dallas was my man of the match. I fought for him to come up against Wilfried Zaha, who is a fantastic player. He is a fantastic player. And he kept him quiet. But not only that, I think he also got joy going forward, Lucy. You know what I mean? Against Zaha, you know? So
I think
he was amazing.
Yeah, I think he made, was it 7 challenges on him, which is quite high for that game as well. He did really well, really strong. The crowd was chanting his name as well. I think he did go down at one point, didn't he? And I thought, oh God, you always worry about anyone going down on the floor. And but yeah, I think everybody did. I think the only person where I think, and this has been very ridiculously critical, is Raf. The last 2 games since he's come back hasn't been 1,000% himself. He's still amazing, still quality, but I still. Do you know what I mean when I say that? I still think he's not been. I think he wasn't very his usual self. Definitely against Brighton, kind of went a little bit missing. But probably that finesse that he always has. There were still some beautiful little balls chipped here and there, skimming, but
I think that's it. You are right, Luce. Like he got man of the match from Ali McCoy, which I think was a bit, but he does for every. I agree with you. He's nowhere near the performances we're used to. But some of his balls, like the ball to Dan James, which was the Rodrigo miss, that ball over the top that got Dan James in behind. Like you said, there's them little moments. He put Mitchell on his backside at one point. Say on his backside. He got round him with a nice bit of work. So there is, like you say, not amazing, but still like he's head and shoulders above anyone in our squad, didn't he? Really?
Yeah. That's right. It's been a bit petty, but I think I think they kept him at bay quite a lot last night, and obviously we still want him to create, we still want him to score, and I don't feel like he's had those usual opportunities, and I think the penalty was poor because it wasn't going fully in the corner, was it? That
I think if he doesn't do the hop, skip, and jump, he misses. Because and maybe that because for me, Guaita was going the right way, but then when he stuttered, he hesitated, and by that point the ball was already gone. And I think
if allowed it in, isn't it?
If he'd have done it in one full swoop, I think he saves it. Because you're right, it didn't go in the corner. I was like, but I never like that, mate. I don't like these
click style penalties.
Yeah, Pogba, when he's going.
Just thrash it down the middle. Power behind the ball.
Rashford did it in the Euros, and I was like, "What are you doing?" It's just like hit it hard. Just hit
That's it. Because I just think the odds of it going in are just so low, and oh God, from my angle, it just looked like he'd saved it at first, just because it wasn't fully in the corner, and I just oh my God, I did feel like he was gonna miss. I just thought it's so typical. We've been awarded the penalty, which I didn't even see. I think as fans, definitely in the crowd, we were all like up in arms, like it's a corner, and then I could just see everyone getting really passionate and Llorente going, please, and I thought, oh, there's been a hand. I didn't even notice. We were just like, we want a corner.
It's mad because you didn't notice in real time watching at home either. Like it wasn't until you seen Cooper, Llorente, all going up like Llorente's doing this, and I was going, guys, I think we're getting a penalty here. The way they reacted, it's telling you could tell the way they reacted. They were like, this is a definite pen. So yeah, over the moon with that, over the moon. Let's talk about this guy because Tashierna's brought it up. Declan Forshawn Calvert pocketed the Conor Gallagher word. I had a few people message me on
what
social
media.
What
did you think about him last night?
Yeah, he wasn't great, was he?
No, I thought my first thought was he came into my corner to take a corner, and it just didn't get past the first man. I thought, well, he'd have fitted in quite well with the quality of corner.
Sign him up. Sign him up.
Literally a perfect fit with the quality of corners. Did deliver a few better ones later on, but nothing to kind of write home about. I didn't.
He got himself a daft yellow card as well because I think Cooper put him in the bin, and he wanted to seek retribution, and he ended up siving Rafinha down, didn't he, in the process? And I thought, his head's got to him a little bit there. Yeah, a little bit disappointed actually. Well, I'm not disappointed.
No. Here's what you could have won.
Yeah.
Gallagher.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about the weekend because Pete Benson, thank you for the super chat, mate. He says, does Bamford start or come on for Sunday? Because there's a potential that Luke, Ayling and Bamford could be back. Do you want them to come straight? I think, Luce, even having them on the bench,
massive.
Even if they're not going to come on, because he's done it before, because if you remember Calvin against Wolves, he put him on the bench with no intention of bringing him on because when he played against Arsenal in the Cup, it was rubbish and you could tell that he wasn't quite fit. So he's done it before. It's not as if we have a gluttony of players to choose from anyway. So do you think we stick a Bamford and an Ayling on the bench and would that be positive, just seeing them in the squad?
Yeah, it'd be such a comfort blanket, wouldn't it? Just seeing the names on the bench. I don't think in a million years he'd start them.
No.
I don't think they'd be ready either. But like you say, having that name there, and even if it was like, I don't know, the 80th minute, and just to have somebody of experience and quality to bring on, because that's what we've lacked. There's very few game changers. It's a thin squad. We've just had to coast along and make do, haven't we, for the last however many weeks it is now. But yeah, just having those options is just key, isn't it? It would be such a massive boost.
Yeah, massive. I think we could almost, I spoke to my brother earlier and saying, like, if we get these players back, that I think we've navigated this really bad patch quite well, actually, when you consider if we win against Brentford and then, we've got 4 very difficult games, and I still stand by the fact that I don't think we'll lose 4 on the bounce. It'd be amazing to pick up 4 points out of them 4, if I'm being totally honest. But, you might be looking at 1 or 2. I know it doesn't make for great reading, but we could genuinely put ourselves in a great position on Saturday. And I think Michael Owen made a good point. Shock, actually, but Michael Owen made a good point on BT. He said,
"Did he?"
Yeah. He said if he's played 90 minutes for the under-23s, then he's ready in a sense. So I think there is a point in that having at least Bamford on the bench, because if things, you've got 20 minutes to go. Stick him on, stick him on.
Yeah, but yeah, and if it's not for the weekend, it's going to be possibly the game after, isn't it? Because again, it's the Bielsa way. He won't just stick them in if he doesn't feel like they're ready. And he's just got his blind faith, hasn't he, in the current players, Tyler, Dan James. He's got that belief that they can still churn out a performance and a result, and it's the dream.
He's a lovely guy, Jack.
He is. He's Jack, bless him.
Yeah, he is. He's a great guy. Let's have a look, see what people are saying about Pontus. I'm always miles behind the chat. Harmony says, I love Pontus and he always speaks highly of us. However, some fans think he put self before side when he left. Understandable that some are miffed at him. That's fair enough. I don't know. I think Bielsa wanted shot, right? I think Bielsa wanted shot. I heard that there was, I don't know if you heard this, Lucy, there was chat about him not wanting to come back so early and maybe saying that, setting the cat amongst the pigeons around some of the squad.
It did sound like they had to sell him, though, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think from what we've, on reflection, it didn't sound like he personally wanted to go, I don't think, either. I always remember when he was there in his shirt signing a contract and everybody said it looked like he was being like held hostage. And
it was
just
so.
like...
Do you know what the best thing was? The biro was broke as well. Like it was all chewed.
Tin Pot Club.
Honestly,
and because
like, why would you use a biro anyway? But for it then to be like all chewed, like no, like I've got like flashy pens here. Like the fact that they used, do you know what I mean? And I'm sat on my own in here, but the fact I've smashed the gaff up as well in the process. The fact that they used a biro and it all was chewed was just hilarious. I felt.
Yeah, and because he's been so kind about us since, I think he's always got that strong affiliation, hasn't he, with us? He loves us. He loves Malmo as well, doesn't he? That's his club, and he's always banging on about one of us and not Brentford, really, is he? So I don't think he really wanted to go. I think it was all money, wasn't it? But
for sure.
sad.
I'm just going to pick up on Bandy here. So Bandy said, Joe, you're one of our biggest champions on YouTube. However, you ask people to comment and I've only heard you respond to 2. Not very inclusive. Well, now that seems pretty silly, doesn't it, Bandy? Because all we've done is speak about comments for the last 10, 15 minutes. Of course, me and Lucy have a chat first of all, but I always will get to your comments, Bandy. So just have a little bit of patience, brother. But thank you for subscribing and commenting, though. I will say that much. Oh, it was so funny what happened. What were you saying?
No, it's just, and I've heard as if there's like a little like forum where they're all talking about how you don't include people or something. Who's saying it?
There was yesterday, because now I've got subscriber only chat on, so you have to have been subscribed for a minimum 5 minutes before you can put a comment on.
Right.
And last night I was doing a watch along, and someone called me a bald bugger, right? And I thought, you've literally waited 5 minutes of your life, sat in front of your screen, to write bald bugger. I was like, why? Like, and not only that, within that 5 minutes, Lucy, I'd have come up with a better put down than bald. Do you know what I mean?
I like
I choose to shave my head. Do you know what I mean?
I like the alliteration of the B's. Yeah. Like, if I were really like poetic and
great stuff, man. Honestly, it's mad. It's mad. So, thoughts on the weekend then? Brentford. Anyone overly worried? Obviously, a lot's been made of Ivan Toney. You know, is he someone that concerns you? I think. You know what I will say. I think Thomas Frank will set them up right. Do you know what I mean? I think he is. I think he is a good. I know it pains me to say it.
I know, I can't stand him.
But he's all right. I think he's better than what Dean Smith was. Do you know what I mean? He's a really irritating character. He is though, isn't he? But I do think it'll be a tough tie, won't it? It will be tough.
Yeah, really tough. I think it's a bit of a, like I say, a bit of a, I don't know, would you say it's like a grudge match? There's kind of lots of sort of bad blood, mini rivals again.
That Sergio Canos is still there, isn't he, as well?
Yeah.
Can't stand that guy.
No, just cannot stand them. They are one of the clubs that I just loathe so much. So I think as a club, as a fan base, we're quite up for it. Up for Sunday for sure. But yeah, because they've got a busy run of games. They've played Sunday, they're playing tomorrow, having to play again and come up here. So yeah, we'll see how they fare tomorrow and what kind of mindset are they going to be in to come to Elland Road.
Yeah, we'll beat them, won't we?
Well, I predicted 5 from 3 and we've already got the 4 points, so we only need we're just going to get a point, aren't we?
So do you think we're still going to get a point? I will say Lucy's predictions have been pretty bob on, to be honest. You
really
do get them right. Would you be disappointed with a point against Brentford at all?
I would, to be honest. But on the basis that it's ahead of that horrendous run, that I kind of feel like it's another must win if you're looking at the end of the season, looking back and pinpointing fixtures that should have been must wins. Because I feel like they've had their little peak, would you say, when everyone was kind of comparing them to us and saying they were better than us, better than maybe Sheffield United, and then I think they've kind of dipped a little bit. So now I'm just kind of expecting that it's Brentford, need to beat them, and then we've got a foundation for the inevitable.
The fall game. It's like a group of death in it in the Champions League. Like that would be the 4 teams. You'd be like, wow, we're really under it here. Danny Burke says Ivan Toney from Sunday League would concern me against Cooper. Never mind him.
He's a big Cooper fan.
I wasn't going to let the cat out of the bag, but did you not think Cooper had a good game at both games? You could argue in the last 2.
Probably more so last night. I think he won something like 83% of his one-on-one aerial duels and stuff. They were kind of solid. there were a couple of moments where if the ball would have ended up in the back of the net, he was directly to blame on a couple of occasions, but obviously it didn't. So we'll ignore that. But yeah, I think for him, yeah. But again, I'm waiting for the day where he'll just get phased out. Sorry.
Do you still want that? Like, are you still like, come on now?
Yeah,
When's it time?
I'm watching like Robin Koch back in training.
No, Robin
videos.
Koch's done nothing, Lucy. Robin Koch came in and gave Bruno Fernandes. He might as well have handed him the hat-trick ball before we even kicked off.
Yeah, but he put a nice video montage together.
He's got a lovely little pencil bar tash and all that, and he's got nice facial hair. Is that what we're saying?
But no, I think based on what I saw mainly last season, I'm just thinking he's more one for the future.
Yeah.
But I think I heard somebody say last night that just generally with our team, we're all hitting that 30-year-old mark.
Yeah, no, I agree.
We've either got 30-year-olds or kids. There's nobody kind of like in the middle, is other than like Calvin, perhaps. There's the odd couple, but then there's gonna come a time where we can't rely on the like granddads of the team, really. If they're gonna stay, we've got to kind of plan for the future.
Yeah.
They can't be there forever.
There's a massive overhaul needed in the summer, I think, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, there is.
You would have to, if you look at the back line, right back, you're probably going to need someone. But then you've got Drame, so maybe they'll be happy with him, but we need to see more of him. Centre backs, I think we're all right.
We're all right at the back. I think it's going to have to be, we love Forshaw, but I think you're going to need like Forshaw cover or someone that can play alongside him, maybe a Click replacement, and just an attacking option, because we can't just rely on Bamford as we've known this season. Again, you can't just put all your hopes and prayers on Gelhardt. You've got to have somebody other than
Do you
Bamford.
think we should have seen him last night? Because I was at 75 minutes, and obviously we win the game, so it's easy to look back at that and say, well, no, because we won the game. But I do genuinely feel at that point we needed to see something change. I don't know. He seems really reluctant to want to use him, and I don't know. I want to see more of him, Lucy. I'm getting impatient.
Yeah, I was thinking, oh no, Southampton are winning.
I know, yeah, I've seen. I've got Leicester on my coupon as well, so I'm fuming.
Yeah, I did feel like it was crying out just for somebody to do something with a final ball. But again, Tyler Roberts was playing well in the way that like Bamford would play well and wouldn't get a goal. So I still think he felt like he needed somebody like him, needed somebody that hold up the ball. But obviously he brought Rodrigo on and that didn't quite work out. He'd obviously used subs early on. He just must have thought we had more experience to bring on ahead of Gelhardt. But it is weird, isn't it, how he picks and chooses? Like he felt, oh well, Gelhardt will start him against Spurs, away
as well. Like it's mad, really.
And everything he does has a reason behind it, and I'd love to know what the rationale is. It's weird, because I thought, right, Gellhardt's going to be starting probably, and then I was just really shocked.
Yeah, it's a bit strange when you consider that he played him against Spurs, who were, arguably the best team out of the ones, recently, and then he's not getting a run out against Brighton when we're being terrible, or he's not. We need something to change. It's 0-0 against Palace at home. I think for me, it was the ideal time to bring him on. We had one sub left, and although Roberts, and it wasn't saying like get Roberts off, he's been rubbish. It was more like, let's just try something else. You know what I mean? Let's try something else. So it was a little bit strange. But look, we're both really positive now. We're looking forward to the weekend. get Bamford back in the squad. A lot of people saying, Ayling only played 45, etc. I hear that, but I'd just love to see him. I'm not saying they'll start, but let's get them close to the squad. And I think we beat Brentford comfortably at the weekend. I've said it. I think it could be 2-0 and a comfortable, Leeds United performance. Beelzebub at its close to its best. I genuinely believe that. Yesterday gave me really, really, I don't know, like loads of comments on my video after were like, it's good to see you smiling again, because I've been on the floor and I was just like, yes. So I'm going to let that carry me over, man. I say we win the game 2-0. Give me a score prediction and how you see it panning out at the weekend.
Because I feel like, again, it's just that final ball lacking. We're not finishing, and I feel like they're in a similar boat based on what I saw at the weekend. So I think we'll edge it. So I'll just say, 1-0, 1-0.
Say it with your chest. Come on,
yeah,
now.
it's just because, like I said, I can't see us that we're in a position where we're just going to score an abundance of goals, because that's just not going to happen. And like I said, with them, can't see it happening. So it's just going to be those fine margins, I think, where it might come late on, perhaps in the game. But like you said, we need to win. And then sometimes I think we play a lot better against the top sides.
Yeah.
You get punished easier. There's no room for error. That's where we get punished. But we do tend to start quite positive against the top sides like Man City, etc. So you never know, because we went on like a weird run last season, didn't we, against the top sides?
Yeah.
Got quite a good run of points, so you never quite know. But yeah, we'll say 1-0 for. And I think you said earlier it's Saturday. It is Sunday, so don't turn up on Saturday.
Sorry, yeah, Sunday, 2:00. I know, yeah. I know. I'm so tired at the minute. I'm like
too eager.
Yeah. Have you signed up for the square ball walk, by the way, the 92-mile walk?
92 miles?
92 mile, yeah. They're going from Wales up to Elland Road.
Well, I have to do that.
What, do you have to? Do you not fancy it?
Well, I only kind of walk to the fridge and back normally.
I've signed up for it, mate. It's for the Samaritans and for Andy's man.
Oh, that's really cool. When is it?
After the season, 26th of May, I think.
I was gonna say, please don't do it in like February.
No, yeah. I've registered my interest anyway. They might look at my name and go, yeah,
So how long does that take?
We're too cool to be letting you come along.
How long does it take?
I don't know. 3 nights. So there's 3 stops, like 3 hotels they're stopping at. It's on it's on Twitter.
I've not even seen that. I don't know how I've not seen it, but
they're doing it for Gary Speed, you see. So they're going from his hometown to Elland Road, 92 miles.
What, you have to start in Wales?
No, so all you have to do is get yourself to Elland Road, and then they're going to take care of the rest of it. So they're going to get transport to take your bags to the hotel, and then you can choose whether you need some financial support or if you'll pay for the hotels yourself. Okay. I think they'd worked out across the 3 nights it'll only equate to about 140 quid, which isn't that bad really, because it'll be like travel lodges and whatnot. So I think it'll be a good do. 92 mile, that would be it'd be good, wouldn't it?
You see, the only time I've ever been to Wales has just been through Leeds matches, and we've just lost. I don't have any good memories of being in Wales.
And they give us people like Storm Bloody Arwin, you know what I mean? And not only that, Jack as well. Jack Glennie's a Welshman as well, so we get numpties like Jack and stuff. So there you go. So yeah, we're both going for Brentford wins. We're both going for Leeds United wins at the weekend, and we'll be sitting pretty and chasing European football. The dream of European football is still alive. But I do think, you made a point, Lucy, just before we finished, them next 4 afterwards, I said off air, I'm really looking forward to it because it's what you're in the Premier League for, and I can breathe a sigh of relief a little because we've had some positive results of late. But I do agree with the pressure's off in them games. Do you know what I mean? We're not really expecting anything, so Leeds will show up.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what we saw last season, wasn't it? Like the opening game against Liverpool, we all went into it thinking, "Oh God, what's it going to be like?" And then was gutted that I didn't get something out of it. So yeah, like you said, the pressure's off. We just don't want any kind of like Man U levels of embarrassment again, do we?
No,
like
definitely
we've
not.
had in the past.
Look, Chelsea are great, yeah, but like Brighton, sometimes they can't finish the dinner when they've got Finding Timo up front. So hopefully,
Finding Timo.
Finding Timo.
I love that. I love as well that Timo is there, Tyler Roberts, really, and that just shows the difference in quality with their side.
Yeah, so there's that. City. Nah, I think. Look, I know we got positive results last season. I don't think it's happening this. In all honesty, Arsenal at home, we've got to beat them. It's been so long, and
long. Yeah.
The last time we played them at Elland Road, they were rubbish. How we did not win that game's beyond me.
Yeah, we need a bit of a retribution for that.
And we're not winning at Anfield, are we? We're not winning.
So I don't know where your 4 points are coming from then.
So I was just going to say, we get a point at Stamford Bridge.
What?
Yeah, and we
that's
beat
a
Arsenal
loss.
at home. We beat
out
Arsenal
of those, I just think I'd put Chelsea ahead of like Man City for them to get the win. I just think they are just quality. Out of everyone I watch, it pains me to say, but Chelsea are just phenomenal this season. Yeah. I just think they're the best, and I just can't see super duper Liam Cooper up against the likes of them powering forward.
Yo, Lukaku, if he pins you, it's game over.
Lukaku just like top bins and
he just basically start at halfway, put his arm on Cooper, and just take him all the way back to the goal, and Cooper won't be able to do anything about it. Because listen, Lukaku's different level, and he's just back as well, and so I'll have to wait and see.
Insane.
Yeah. But we will do a show in the lead up to them games anyway, so we'll have plenty to go through. But we're both going for wins at the weekend, and we both believe that we're going to get European football. Well, Lucy doesn't, but I've just
one day.
one day. But thank you as always for watching the show. I know you've had your fill of Leeds United content across plenty of creators tonight. So if you're watching this after the fact, then thank you for that as well. Thank you for those in the live chat. Please smash a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, hit the notification bell. And if you want some really good takes on Twitter from time to time, you can also follow Lucy. Twitter handle is in the description. Only from time to time.
Yeah, Forshaw fan page.
Yeah. Forshaw and Robin Cock. I needed to get the Robin in there. I just didn't want that to have been a little bit. But yeah, massive fan. So check that out. And thank you. And we will see you in a bit.